Have you ever heard a musical artist described as having great chops? What does that mean? Well, the term chops is slang in the music business that refers to an artist that has developed great skills over time, whether they are a musician, composer, producer, or other titles associated with the music business. This is Scott Grimaldi, your host of Got Chops. Join me as I interview one musical artist per episode that I've had the pleasure of either performing, recording, or work with in my career. Plus, I'll be interviewing artists I've always wanted to speak with. We'll discover how each artist developed their chops, listen to their stories, and much more. This is Got Chops.
Are low. You're looking out for a place to go where they play the right music, where they get in the swing, and you look for the king. Anybody could be that guy. Night is young and the music high. A little bit of jazz music. Oh, and you got in the mood for dance.
Today's guest is a world-renowned jazz artist, multi-instrumentalist, singer, and dancer who holds the title of Sweden's Queen of Swing. I first became aware of her wide range of talents on Instagram and YouTube and was immediately struck by her ability to go from one instrument to the next, often in the same song, with flawless technical execution and excellent improvisation. Although trombone is her favorite to play, on the track behind me, she's featured on trumpet, plus lead vocals and tap dancing on a 1920s type hot jazz arrangement of Dancing Queen, originally recorded by another Swedish music group, ABBA. At age 7, my guest began to perform live with her family band that spans 3 generations that she now leads. Today's artist incorporates jazz music, vaudeville, and circus routines into her shows and entertains audiences worldwide. This multi-talented artist definitely got chops. Please welcome my special guest artist, Gunhild Carling. Good morning, Gunhild. This is Scott from Got Chops. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for inviting me. So glad.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for joining me today. I'm looking forward to interviewing you. So where are you on the road right now? I know you're traveling.
Yeah, I have been traveling for over 30 days, and today I'm in Georgia. It's wonderful sunshine, and yeah, I feel a good vibe.
That's fantastic. Is that your first time in Georgia?
Yes, it is.
Excellent.
It's the first time in Georgia.
And I just noticed that you were playing in my home state of New Jersey. I guess the other day. You were in Morristown?
Yep, I was in Morristown.
Oh, if only I knew ahead of time. That's my fault. I could have came with my wife and we could have enjoyed your performance, but I'm sure you'll be back sometime in the future.
I hope so. And, I'm having a great time. So I play with Postmodern Jukebox and I do a lot of acts and the audience seem to like it a lot. And I'm just feeling very good. I travel from city to city to city. So every night when it's over, I go to a bus where I sleep and I wake up in a new city.
That's grueling, but I know that from your comments on Instagram, you really enjoy your lifestyle, and that's fantastic.
I love it. I meet so many people. I get to see the country. I get to see America. It's fantastic. I was in Baltimore yesterday.
First time, or have you been there before?
I have been there many times before. Yeah, I love Baltimore. It's a fantastic vibe. Music city. Billie Holiday's birth city.
So let me ask you, as a musician from Sweden, are you familiar with the music slang got chops? And if so, what does it mean to you?
Got chops mean for me that you have skills. I would say personal for me when somebody say, "Oh, you got chops." I think I got a good embouchure. You know, I nailed the notes.
Absolutely, and that's where it all originated. It had to do with brass players and their lips, and now it has become a lot more generic, as you know.
But when people say it to me, it's mainly brass musicians, and I understand it as, "Wow, what an embouchure you got."
So in Sweden, I guess the music slang got chops is used there as well.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
So speaking of Sweden, you were born in a town called Gothenburg. Is that where you grew up?
I grew up in Gothenburg, and it's a beautiful city, a harbor city. And we had a house, and I have three siblings, and we all played. My two parents and my three siblings and we were playing nonstop. So I had a fantastic time in Gothenburg, and I had a lot of friends there, and yeah. So the atmosphere in Gothenburg is that you shall be very friendly and happy, and I like that vibe.
Excellent. And yes, you do convey that when you're speaking on the phone and even through your social media. So you now live with your family in Northern California. What do you see as the differences between California and where you grew up in Sweden?
Well, so I live outside San Francisco, and when I got there at first, the climate was, of course, a big change. The biggest difference, there are big differences between Europe and America, but the climate is one. That it's more windy, so it's very warm in the sun, but it's windy. It's cold in the wind, so you dress a little different. But I love to be in California and the people. And when I first got there, I didn't know anyone, so it was just walking around in beautiful environments, and then suddenly started to go on tour, and then came lockdown. I lived a couple of months in California and was touring around because I had a lot of festivals and tours in America, not in California though, so much. But then came lockdown, and I started a band with the people in my house, which was, random people. I just say, listen to jazz, play jazz. And we did.
Yeah, I've seen those videos. They're really entertaining, and you could tell that everyone is really enjoying themselves. So, speaking of your family, you come from a musical family that exposed you to a vast array of entertainment genres that include circus, acting, dance, vaudeville, and novelty. Can you talk about what it was like to be in your house when growing up?
Yeah, so my house is a mid-size, not super big and but not small. So my father and my older brother, they build instruments. So there are a lot of homemade instruments. There are harps, violins, cellos. There are gambas and fiddles, hurdy-gurdies that are homemade. My father also built an organ. There are a lot of palms, and because my mom she grows a lot of plants indoors. So this, in combination with my father, he was very inspired by the 18th century's aesthetics. So there are a lot of 18th centuries built things. Piano, a lot of brass instruments, strange instruments that you don't see so often. Medieval instruments, Renaissance instruments, and homemade fantasy instruments. There are also, because we're interested in vaudeville, unicycles, rolla rollas, diabolos, Everywhere you go, you find something arty, artish. We also, my brother, my sister, and I, we paint. So there are a lot of every wall is covered by something painted. Not never. We don't have time to frame it. It's just up there on the wall, different paintings. And also, my father, he was very interested in astrology. He knew every part of the star chart. So there are a lot of calendars and, moon. You can look at star glasses. I don't know what it's called, but so you can look out in the sky and books, millions of books.
That's fantastic. So you had a really wide range of things in your house that you were exposed to, not only music, but art and, education as far as literature. I mean, that's a great upbringing. Speaking of music, what jazz artists were you influenced by when growing up? And were they jazz artists from Sweden, America, or a combination of both?
No, so there are two different things. The personality of Louis Armstrong is the personality that inspired me the most, I think, because it's very happy and positive, very good melodies, good phrasing, a lot of wild. If you take his whole library of music. But I'm also very interested in, I like impressionism a lot, like Debussy, Ravel, Dukas, things like that. So the music of Bix Beiderbecke speaks to me a lot because of the chords and this impressionism is a big part of what I'm interested in. So yeah, Duke Ellington, Count Basie, the music, and Billie Holiday, Ella, of course, the great. Yeah, I'm inspired by them all. And so in my real life, not only records and books and scores and so on, movies, I have always been out and playing with like new people all the time and a lot of friends and so. But no one inspired me as much as the classic jazz has. The classic jazz is the main inspiration. I always go back to that. That's my source of inspiration.
So, besides singing and tap dancing, I read that you play over 10 musical instruments and that the trombone is your favorite, as you mentioned before, but you never studied with a music teacher. So, was it your mom or dad or both that taught you how to play all those instruments, sing, tap dance, and entertain?
Well, so my father was a genius, but he had a lot of ideas, a lot of strange ideas. He didn't think I should go to a teacher because he had an idea that a teacher can break you down because he will say, no, don't play that, like, and break your inspiration. So learn everything of your own. So I was actually not allowed to go to a teacher because because he had this idea that you shall figure out your own inspiration. You shall never have a broken down inspiration because a teacher can do that. And the only thing, this was his words, the only thing you can get after have gone through a teacher is to become a teacher yourself. And you shall be an artist. You should be free and totally blah, blah, blah. You know, the whole thing. So that was what I was born into. That you learn everything, but learn it by yourself. You figure it out.
Right, and you certainly did. It's just phenomenal what you do going from one instrument to another. But myself, I'm a woodwind person, so I play flute, sax, and clarinet. But you're going from brass to woodwinds to bagpipes to string instruments. I mean, but the brass and woodwind, they're entirely different embouchures, and yet you do it with such ease. I mean, your high notes on the trombone are just outrageous. So who taught you the embouchure? Was it your dad or mom?
No, I found it out myself, but my father is a trumpet player.
I saw that.
Yeah, but he was a very inspired person. My older brother is extremely inspired, like, wow, have you heard this? Oh, this sounds good. Oh, can you try to play like this? So I was in an environment that was extremely inspired all the time, very inspired and into like finding the sound that is magic and enchanting sound. So I actually play some woodwind too because I play Sean and the medieval oboe, and I play oboe.
Wow, that's excellent.
I I love to play sax, but the thing is, we where we are today, if you play sax, you must have a sound. I mean, you must really say something. You cannot just go in and play notes. You must say something. So my brother is an excellent clarinet player and saxophone player, so he took that, and I was like focusing on brass. But when I play medieval music and Renaissance, I I think I can have a good timing on Shaw.
I'm assuming that you practice quite a lot when you were younger. And if so, do you also practice now?
Yeah, I practice every day.
Excellent.
For me as jazz musician, though, I must practice together with others because timing is the noble thing of jazz. You must have timing, and you have to practice timing with others. So now, since we are on tour here, I say to the guys in the band, okay, can we meet and play for an hour or something? Because of course I need to have chops and embouchure. But the most important thing is that my mind is into, okay, so I play then someone fills in, gives space, the exact elegance between space and then playing in timing, say something wonderful when you play, and then leave space for others. And you have to practice that more than what you practice embouchure. That is like the most important thing that you have, timing and understanding for music. So I practice with band every day.
That's great. Growing up in America, we hear, and I'm sure you've discovered this too, the a lot of the emphasis with the young students that I have and I've taught, um, they're so much more interested in technique, and to get them to try and listen to artists that you're talking about and phrasing and tone and pitch. Um, that doesn't seem to be a big concern, but when you talk about the era of music that you play, that was, very, very important to play a melody and understand what you're saying. Are you finding the same thing with young musicians in the States?
First of all, I love what you say because we are touching a really interesting question here. With the masters, if we talk about Django or Parker, Armstrong, like, the masters, they had many levels. They had, first of all, an unbelievable world-class technique and embouchure. But they also had an enormous feeling. And feeling is to me like they had like a tone, and feeling. And the third thing was that they lived a life that most of us today, we are so far from the adventures what they gone through. So what I have made some analysis of this. Okay, what I think, in my opinion, feeling is number one. If you don't have feeling, if you don't touch, it's wasted notes. Technique, you must have technique. You must be on the top when it comes to embouchure and technique. But technique doesn't have a value in itself. It's like we take the car to to make a journey to see lovely mountains, to go to a beautiful city, but the car just must work. It's the technique. We use it for the experience that we are going to feel. So we must have high class technique, but it's just the lowest level. It's the shoulder where we stand on to experience and feel and passion, to get passion.
That's great. I love your analogy of that. And as I tell my students, when jazz first came on the scene, you couldn't go to the store and buy a method book on chord scales and chord symbols and how to analyze and what notes do you approach. And over time, theoreticians analyzed the heck out of this stuff and made methods.
Yeah, I can say the only thing, no, I'm only talking for myself now, okay? The only thing where it's good to study is theory, because you can never have enough theory. Theory is a key. So when it comes to technique and such things, what you're playing, but the theory is fantastic thing. So I would say that theory for me is very important, and actually the only thing I think that you shall go to a teacher and really study, so like the scales, and it's in my eyes like the not the practicing, the theory is important.
So tell my listeners about your Carling family band that spans 3 generations. You're touring around the globe, and you're labeled as a jazz band and vaudeville show. Could you describe the period of jazz that you play? What age did you begin to play with your family? Who were the original family members from years ago, and who are the current family band members now?
Good question. We started 1982 when I was 7, and it was my father played trumpet, my mother played banjo. She wasn't originally a violin player, but she changed. Banjo. My older brother, who was born in 69, he played clarinet, and my sister, who was born in 71, plays piano, and me, born 75, and my younger brother, born 79. He plays drums. He came a little later into the picture. So what we did was, because it was a lot of ideas from my father, we listened to Jelly Roll, King Oliver, Louis Armstrong, Hot 5, mainly. And we just listened to the music, and then we tried to play the same songs, like Potato Head Blues or Cornet Chop Suey. I listened to Kid Ory, and I didn't play exact his note, I captured the style and played the same. So when I was small, I played this tailgate style. A little later on, and so we also played some Big Sand His Gang, like Jazz Me Blues. And we were 6 people. So later on, we were playing late Armstrong, which is a totally other thing, post rock and roll. So it's like more established rhythm section, and the trombone player is not Kid Ory, it's Trummy Young. So it's way more like pushing on. And the clarinet player is not Johnny Dodds, who plays very much triad. Like he's like arpeggiating Johnny Dodds olden days. Now it was Edmund Hall who plays more like more swinging, more dirty sound. And Armstrong now has moved up one octave and plays so high, so we played that a decade later, like late Armstrong. We also played bassy and more swing and so. And long story short, now that was the original Carling family. Nowadays we play all kind. We make like a vaudeville of jazz because my brother, he has 3 daughters. Nana, Linnea, Petronella, my brother Max, and they play saxophone, banjo, trombone. So I have 2 kids, Eden and Viggo. Trombone, clarinet, and drums. And together, my father doesn't live anymore. I usually play the trumpet, and then we used to start with, let's say, something happy like Big Butter and Eggman. My daughter, she sings good. She used to sing, and then we changed key, and I have made during lockdown a book with 600 arrangements for combo, which I call like 4 horns. So it's 2 reeds and 2 brass. And we just go from 1920s, we play a little 1930s, small big band swing. We play a little Billie Holiday. We mix them all. We take little Armstrong, some Django. Then we play some blues. I play recorder. I used to play bossa nova on recorders. And then my brother, he juggles. He's a gentleman juggler, which means he juggles with cigar boxes and umbrellas, and it's an old genre from America, actually. W.C. Fields was the first juggler, I think, in that genre. Then my niece, Nana, she builds up chairs over each other, and they're up there. She makes a handstand. I take my 3 trumpets and I play 3 trumpets at the same time, and I tap dance. And then my brother, my younger brother, he's a great dancer. I've never seen such a fantastic dancer as he is. So he dances and he's balancing, and we do some acrobats. I can take a unicycle and go out and shout, yeah, the show is over now, folks. And I was a little gifted, if I can brag, that I have a little comic. I can be a little comic. Humor. I have little kind of humor. So when I always like say crazy things in the microphone. So totally crazy, so people laugh. Like, for example, I ask them, what do you want to hear? Do you want to hear German opera? And they say, yeah, okay. And then I play. So it's meant to be a joke. You didn't laugh now, but okay. And then I sing Mac the Knife, because it's actually originally German opera. Or I say, how many wants to hear German bagpipe? Okay, I know you're a little weird, but okay, I bring my bagpipe now. And then I play.
That ties right into the word vaudeville. So you mentioned that a few times. So for my listeners, young and older, can you explain what vaudeville is? It was the most popular in America from the 1880s through the 1920s. How do your audiences react to this form of entertainment that they may have never seen or been exposed to in a live setting?
We must first consider nothing is for granted. There is no style that automatically is more popular than anything else. You hear the songs on radio, but if you for example you hear R&B or hip hop, but it's not for granted that you will have a big audience only because you play that style. It's the stars we hear on the radio. So I build the shows around that. I believe in melodies. A good melody is always good. I do some original songs with good arrangements. You must have like interesting arrangements, modulations, introductions, outros, and rhythm changes and chords changes and so on. You must mix it up with humor and instrument changes, of course. And then we do a little vaudeville, because the audience that I have in front of me, they just went out to have a wonderful evening. And I am there to make it.
Yeah, and you do a great job. It's just, I can just imagine at the end of your shows, they must be standing in ovation like, wow, this is incredible.
Yeah, I've been very happy the latest time. It was a lot of standing ovations. America has a very good audience. They like music. In Sweden too, actually, but I'm very fortunate here. I met the right guys.
So you also have the Carling Big Band, and you were invited to play at the Royal Palace in Stockholm for King Carl XVI Gustaf, the King of Sweden. Share with my listeners what it was like to perform for such royalty, and what music did you perform for the king?
First, I tell you the background of the gig.
Okay.
I was touring around with my big band, and it was the rainiest summer in years. I tell you, it was raining every day. But I was playing, and I'm happy with whatever. But one day we played in Stockholm, and it had like storm and hurricane. There was nobody out, and we were playing in a public park, and the entrance was for free because the city paid us to play. And there was nobody. And 2 hours before our show, in the rainiest summer in 100 years, the sun suddenly started to shine, and the whole city came to the park, and we had a public record of like 30 years. Me, I play jazz, big band jazz. So I was just fortunate that day. I had a public record in Stockholm, which is a big city, and the whole city was there. But I had a little help of the sun. And with this public record, plus I had a big community following me with young people, because they were swing dancers. So I had like a broad generations like coming, like all ages were there. And then when Stockholm saw that, they placed my band and me then in the front at the castle when the king had his 40 years on the throne. And we teared the whole castle down. People went wild because we were playing like it was the last day of our lives. And with that success, they said, okay, can you come to the king's 70th birthday? We bring you in. So my big band was very hot, wild, and crazy. And then we came to the king's birthday with the royal family. And behind every person, there is always a heart and something that touches. So, I don't make any differences. I just need to be, if I'm inspired, and I can try to include the audience in my inspiration. That is what I have to do.
Well, I saw that video, and it was electrifying, and you were mainly playing the trombone from what I could see, and then you're holding the trombone and you're tap dancing. Wow. The audience went nuts. Did you get a chance to speak to the king at the end of the show?
I did several times. The thing was, my father was still alive at that time, and he called before the gig. He was not on the gig. He called because he was dying in cancer, so he was in bed, but he called and said, remember that you are not allowed to say you to the king. You must say your majesty. Yeah, that is very important.
Oh.
So the first thing when I met the king was that I was so starstruck. So I said, "Oh, you are fantastic, and I have a gift for you and you and you." I said "you" billion times. And the king, he like looked like he didn't hear what I said. So I said it 3 times and 4 times, and then after my father called and said, "You said you to the king in TV," because I could see it.
Oh boy.
But then after we talked, when the whole ceremony was over, we talked, and he also plays trombone, and he's a very nice man, like private, like strict but nice.
What a great experience for you.
Yeah.
I'll be there when the band begins to play. I'll be there at every party's hooray. I'll be dancing on the sunny street. I'm dancing on happy feet. Anytime, any day, and anyway. Yeah, I'll be there when the lights are low. I'll be there even when you don't know where to go. Just to cheer up only. In this street is sad and lonely. Anytime, any day, and anywhere. Oh, sweet.
You were dubbed as Sweden's Queen of Swing. So when were you given that title?
It's actually something that has been hanging after me for years. It's always written on posters. And yeah, it's something that is used all the time.
So you're also a featured singer and multi-instrumentalist with an arranger and pianist by the name of Scott Brandley, and he has a group called the Postmodern Jukebox, which you mentioned before. Scott rearranges well-known pop songs into swing and jazz versions, and there's a video of the pop song Happy. You begin by playing the trumpet, leaning backwards. You balance it on your lips while playing the upright bass at the same time. Then you continue to sing, tap dance, and then play 10 other instruments in the same song, including, as you mentioned before, playing 3 trumpets at once in harmony. That's absolutely amazing. Did the inspiration to do all that come from your exposure to vaudeville?
No, actually, the vaudeville thing in my family came from my older brother, Max. He invented the tricks for me. He said, "Oh, you could probably do it." He's a very inspired person, like always new ideas and composing and building and fixing and tricking. He said, "Probably you could do that." No, that's not possible, but I can try, and it worked. So then I had heard about Roland Kirk, so I was trying 3 trumpets at the same time.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine is here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that can go to space. Yeah, but I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I clap along if you feel like a room without a room. Clap along if you feel that happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel that that's what you want to do. Here comes bad news, talking this and that. Give me all you have, just hold it back. I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Because
How did you perfect playing the trumpet in these unconventional ways?
The thing is that I do a lot of things. Yeah, I do billion things, and some of them are on a high level, like high artistically level. So the thing is not, oh, I'm good at this and I'm good at this and this and this and this and this. It's because it's not an Olympic game. How do I present this to a just normal, random audience? They're out to hear nice music and have like a nice evening. Okay. So it's not an Olympic game where I shall show how good I am at everything. So I serve everything like, oh, it just happens. Oh my God. Oh yes. Oh, and I try to say, I say so crazy things in the microphone, so they totally relax. Well, this is a little bit wild and crazy, but we take it. So that it's very important that you don't try to impress. I just speak for myself now. I'm only speaking for myself. Not try to impress, because the person you want to impress won't be there. Um, just try to be inspired and have like a radiator. You have a something warm coming out from you, and the people, they will feel that and come closer to just be like, yeah, you are a fire. People will automatically come and stand around you to be a part of that fire. So that's how I think symbolistically.
That's really great. That's beautiful the way you describe that. But going back to the musician brain in me, and when I was at Berklee College of Music in Boston many years ago, I had friends of mine that were brass players. And at that time, they were teaching the technique of hanging a trumpet from the ceiling with a string. And the student had to go up to the trumpet and put their lips on it and play without jamming it into their lips. And if you didn't do it correctly, it would come back and hit you in the face. But what you're doing is the same thing. You're balancing that trumpet backwards on your lips, and you're playing da-ga-da-da-ga-da-da, playing like a bugle. How do you do that? That's incredible.
I have figured out the non-pressure method now, just recently, because I play pressure. I do all the variation with the lips, and it's a lot of pressure. And the trumpet is heavy.
Yes.
So that gives pressure enough. Because if it was this other method is a non-pressure method. But this what I do is a pressure method, because I rely on the weight of the trumpet. That makes it so I can do.
So let's talk about the other postmodern jukebox YouTube videos you're featured in that include the pop songs Never Gonna Give You Up, Material Girl, The Final Countdown, and Dancing Queen.
We started with Never Gonna Give You Up, and it was a song that I chose because I like the lyrics and I like the melody. It's so similar till I made a date for gold. You can bet your life it rains. I'm never gonna give you up. Never gonna let. It's like same melody, same. I like the lyrics of that song.
We are no strangers to love. You know the rules, and so do I. Oh, a full commitment is what I'm thinking of. I don't want it from any other guy. I'm never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you. I'm never gonna make you cry. Never gonna say goodbye. I'm never gonna tell a lie and hurt you. We known each other
And it's very important for me, was earlier, I have changed, that I could stand behind the lyrics, and I'm extremely romantic. It's like moonlight and kissing and falling in love, and that's my life, like romance. But then Scott said, you shall do Material Girl. And the lyrics was like, oh, can I sing this? Because Mr. Cash is always the right. But then there is an irony in that. And I have understood that when I've been singing that song. So the song is very important that you love it, that you feel that, oh, I am the song. But, and happy, like I totally love that song. And so first of all, love a song. And then we came up with this idea. We did Never Gonna Give You Up. And then we did Material Girl. And after Material Girl, we did Happy. And then we came up with this idea that I should maybe collect a Swedish songbook. So dancing. And then we did, I think my biggest success was the most views was Europe, the Final Countdown. It's a very good song, very good melody.
Well, it's funny. Everything you're tying into really goes back to your love of early jazz, and you keep coming back to that one word, melody. Melody is everything,
Yeah.
and if it resonates with you, you just take off with it, and it comes through your horn, and you use the other words of passion and love and all that stuff, and that's why people are attracted to you, because if you're into it 100%, the guys and the girls in the band are into it. The audience feeds off of that. So yes, melody is everything. So
yeah, melody and love song. I like lyrics that is about the true thing, like love, falling in love. That is what I like. I write songs. I write 500 songs. It's only about love.
So your videos have exceeded over 1 million views. You just mentioned how many views some of them received. Are your fans in a particular age group and worldwide?
No, I wouldn't say any longer that. So there are, I would say, any ages. To my shows, though, doesn't come kids, because I think there is an age limit or something, but it's all ages, mainly my own age, probably, and up, but also younger. It depends on what venue it is.
So what do you think the appeal is for your early style of jazz music in today's modern digital age of music?
Best question. I have no idea why the people come. I'm going to play next week when I leave Postmodern Jukebox. I'm playing in Wichita, Kansas, like so far away from Sweden and so far away from everything I've ever heard about. And there's coming 300 people to see me, okay, on a theater. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Why? What? Why are they coming? Are they coming because they think? I have no idea. So I have to, I cannot think about what do they want to hear. I have to serve a show with great music and great personal. So, I mean, they can listen to records and watch YouTube, but when they are here, they pay the tickets to see me. It must be something personal. They must feel that I was there. Yeah. So that is what I figure out. So the situation have to give a lot.
You've been performing for many years and you're not tired of it. Your songs are not tiring because you love every time you go to sing or play any instrument, and that comes through all the instruments or when you're singing or dancing, and that's what excites the audience. So you have it, and that you're going to be doing that for the rest of your life, I bet.
Yeah, so far, it was a couple of years ago, before the pandemic. There was a lot of talking on crashing into a wall, which a lot of my friends thought that you should definitely have crashed into a wall by this time. So why didn't I do that so far? I have been thinking so far. Okay. Fingers crossed. I am too lazy to crash into a wall, I would say. The thing is, always do what you love,
Right.
what makes you happy.
That's right.
Always. And I don't have any dreams of status or luxury. I'm not like thinking I must have this award because I'm worth it. I've never been thinking like that, which is really maybe that is a difference to those of my friends. I talk about women now because you have this pressure on you that you shall be a good mother and the whole thing, the whole thing.
Yes.
But I must say that to catching trophies can be that is a thing that I am avoiding. Like, I don't even think about it, because if I have fun and you have fun and we have a wonderful time together, that's all that matters for me. I mean, when I say you, I mean the audience.
Exactly, because musicians don't retire. Artists, composers, arrangers, we don't retire. You just keep going, and you're rejuvenated every time you pick up your instrument or sing or dance, and that's what keeps you young. So that's why people love what you're doing. It's just very evident when you see you on YouTube, and I'm sure it's much better in person to see you live. So I hope I get that opportunity one day to be in the audience when you're on stage.
Yeah, I want to invite everybody to my show, and what I want is like everybody shall feel so welcome. Like, wow, the night was for me. When you play in a band, every person in the band is of equal value, because you need everybody. Everybody needs each other. But when you come into popular culture, there is a hierarchy. And I met that when I became like a popular artist. I was in Let's Dance, and so it's an exact measurement of how many records did you sell, how much have you been on TV, those worldly things that can actually destroy you. Because I sold more records than you. Okay, so you are under me. This hierarchy, which is just a human thing. It's nothing to say about. But when you play in a band, everybody needs each other so much. So it's like a family. No one is more worth than the other. Everyone is needed. And I like that with a troupe and a band. I like that with band, actually.
You're spot on with that. And the people in your band, you could tell from watching the videos that they all respect you and love you, and vice versa. And, you give them the spotlight here and there. But as an ensemble, wow, you work together like you're an extension of your hand or your arm. So, yeah, you got the formula down.
Yeah, I cannot do anything alone. I need always fantastic musicians by my side. So everything is like, well, I'm a kind of a star, but we do it together. It's like our little podcast here. It's you and I.
Right. It's we're trading fours, right?
Yes, exactly.
Right. You're not saying no, let me talk for 10 minutes, and then you say yes.
Yeah. Great idea.
So, do you have any musical or life philosophies or catchphrases that you live by?
I invent one quote a day. And the quote of today was, tomorrow it will be something else. My brain is constantly spinning in like sayings and quotes. And the quote of today was actually that I was given a light from fate or from the gods or from above or whatever. I was given this, what do you call that? A light that you hold in your hand. And it's become my duty to keep it up and light other people's life. I mean, I was given a musical gift, so I have to give it. That means I have to play. A musician have to play.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I like what you're saying. I love what you're saying, actually. So, what advice could you share with someone that is listening to you right now, that is inspired by you, and thinking about doing the same things that you do?
Can I give a boring answer?
It's not boring at all, I'm sure.
Go out and have fun. Because being a musician is 90% of the gig is go to parties, be a funny person to be around. That's all it is. Like play like hell, like go on, like play like fire, like have the technique and everything, but just be funny and nice. Go out, go to parties.
I talk about this quite a lot with my colleagues and friends and families, and this episodes I've done on the other podcast talks I've had, that humor is a big part of what we do in music.
It is like a playfulness in humor, because humor is built on timing, since I use humor so much in my shows. So if they don't have the right timing, they would just sit and stare and think, why did she say that? But if I have the right timing, like, there it comes the joke, it totally hits. So humor is timing and music is timing. And it's like that you are playful about the situation you're in, which music actually also is. And then music has so many more levels, like you can start cry and long, and you can recall some memories, or you can start to dance, or or you feel magic. It's like a ghost story or something. So you can create so many levels with music, but humor is very important.
So, do you have any upcoming live performances or projects that you'd like to announce? And where can my listeners find you, your bands, recordings, and videos on social media?
Yeah, this is a long shot now, because I'm performing every night here in America. I'm in a new city every day. So if I have a day off, they are very rare. But I'm planning, Gunhild calling, to restart my big band here. I'm going to do recording with new big band stuff and record it in Capitol Studio in Los Angeles. And that's my next step. You know, I have a King trombone. I just have a new trombone, a King Legend. It was fantastic. So I have a lot of like different things I can do.
That sounds great. Can you give out your social media addresses, like your Instagram, YouTube, your website, anything like that, so my listeners can find you?
Yeah, it's Gunhild Carling, Gunhild Carling with a C. So Gunhild Carling on like Facebook. I'm the only person in the world who has this name. So if you know my name, and you will find me on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and Spotify. I'm around. I'm out there.
Your next gig, where are you going to next?
Tomorrow I play in Augusta in Georgia. And then I go down to Florida, Orlando, Miami. Then I go to Kansas, and then up to Chicago. So, you know, I will be around. And then down to California. Yeah.
And I'm sure your calendar is on the social media, and everyone can see exactly where you're playing and then get tickets and go see you.
Yes, they can go to my homepage, GunhildCarling.net, of course. So.
Well, listen, Gunhild, it's been such a pleasure speaking with you. I've learned so much about you. I was fascinated when all of a sudden you and your band came up on Instagram, and I was immediately drawn to your talent. I hope to see you live in the future. And I thank you so much for giving me your time in this interview, and I'm sure my listeners have appreciated everything that you shared with them.
Yeah, it was great questions. I love all your questions.
Well, thank you. All right, well, listen, you have a great day. I hope to see you soon and speak to you.
Yes, many times.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for joining me on today's show. I hope you enjoyed the conversation and could hear why my guest got chops. You can follow my podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or Anchor.fm. and stay connected between episodes on Instagram at Got Chops Podcast. Join me on the next episode when we discover why my next guest got chops.